We're live. I'm going to go log into my laptop real quick and get that. It's kind of my thing. I get the laptop going, make sure that I'm in the chat, um, and make sure that this goes into the right vertical shorts um, live streams. So I'll be right back. Looks like it's working now. Well, this viewer's just jumped all over the place. So, second live stream, had a pretty good one last night. I got to meet some new people. Probably see what we got going on tonight. Be on here for a little bit. I'll do some working out in between. So, if anybody new in here, I'm struggling with weight gain, insulin resistance. So, I'm trying to document losing the weight again and what I do. I lost 60 pounds last year and seem to have a pretty good method. Um, so people's not going to believe it until they see it, and that's just the way it is, and I don't blame them. So hi to everybody if you're in here. looks like the chat is working. I'm going to go ahead and do a couple sets, get started, and see if anybody jumps in the chat. It would be nice to be able to get some music playing without getting the copyright. Going pretty light right now. I'm stretching and getting warmed up. So for documenting purposes, 6 foot tall, weighing in at about 280 pounds. So I've lost 60 pounds in a matter of 2 or 3 months, and I've gained it right back in just as quick amount of time. So it would be nice to be able to check my chat a little bit better. I'm still new to this. No, a little hefty on the price. I couldn't even put the whole weight set together in this room. Hopefully, so it was about 10,000 bucks. It's pretty big. It's called the Titex T3. It's made in Poland. They have 3 different versions. If you don't have a lot of room, I would recommend the T2. I think that's like half the price. This will be great if I get like a structure built out back at some point, because I've got pieces not even constructed to it yet. It's pretty awesome. And then you'll get all this for the 10 grand, and then you can also buy extra stuff like row sleds, and there's quite a bit. Titex, if you check out their website, you can see what they've got going on. So far I like it quite a bit, other than the cables seem to rub. I had to do a couple adjustments on that, but yeah, I like it. I've had it about a year, so I had a 5% off on my Discover card when I bought it, and took advantage of that. So 5% of 10,000 bucks, I think, saved me $500. I'm pretty sure, and it was like 0 interest for 6 months. So yeah, it's pretty nice. It doesn't come with weights. Those I had to buy or I already had. But I'm going to add a couple more weights on here. It's great to be at home and work out in the comfort of your home. I've got I actually prefer calisthenics, but I like pull-ups, push-ups, and dips, but I'm trying to get balance and get the weights back in. And it's a good way to talk to people, get on here and get some working out in, and engage with the audience. Try to get up when I wake up and go out and go for a run and do my calisthenics. So yeah, for documenting purposes down the road, right now I'm at 282, 6 foot tall. Suspecting insulin resistance, pre-diabetic. Because anything I eat, I pack on the weight. I'm almost to the point I have to starve myself to lose a few pounds. I try to run. I don't sweat like I used to. 44 years old. Don't hardly sweat at all anymore. So it'll be more believable when I get myself whipped back into shape. So it's the diet is what I'm seeing, because I could do the same workout with a different diet, and it's completely different results for me. And I think that will fall under endomorph body type and insulin resistance. So any sugar I eat's getting stored as fat, and it gets stored quick. I'll gain 1, 2, 3 pounds a day. I could spend 2 weeks hardcore diet, lose 5, 7 pounds, and gain it all back in a day or two. So that sucks, but that's the reality I'm facing right now. If anybody wants to look into insulin resistance, I would highly recommend that if you're going through similar. Dr. Berg and I think Mandel. Dr. Berg's mostly going to have the best insulin resistance information for you. So the way he describes it, if you look down and see your belly, you're pretty much guaranteed insulin resistance, and you want to get a handle on that before it turns into pre-diabetic and diabetic. So I may even be into the pre-diabetic stage right now. I was checked out a year ago. They said I wasn't diabetic, so I'd say possibly reversible if you would have that. So looks like the viewers are dropping. This is all experimental for me, since I'm new on here. It's like my 3rd day. I've done different strategies. So yeah, I'll do some more workouts. I'm just doing pull-downs. Pull-downs a night, different styles. So I can do pull-ups at 280 pounds. And that's a lot of weight. Anybody that's ever tried to lift dead weight of 250, 300 pounds, it's quite a bit of weight. So that's what I'm working with on the pull-up bar outside when I do my pull-ups. And I can do a few. So when you lose your weight, and then you can crank out a lot more reps, that's where you want to be, because reps is where it's at, unless you want to be strength trainer, bodybuilder, like that style. Like a world power lifter type stuff. And if you ever look at those guys, they're not chiseled up, they're not cut up. They're stronger than heck, but they're big as an ox. It's not the build I'm going for. At 44 years old, I prefer to be able to get around, crawl around, be agile. And I hate being overweight. It sucks. It's actually pretty depressing. So far, not much talking tonight. Had a pretty good night last night. Got to meet a few people. Got a few new subscribers, so I think I may start setting this up when I do my outdoor workouts, when I go for my run and jump rope, and this is just extra right now. Hoping to meet some people and talk to some people. I know it's late night in United States, but I've always been a bit of a night owl. I'll get back to my documenting what I've learned stuff. So if anybody joins in the chat, I'll change it up and talk to them. So last year, lost 60 pounds. Went from 280 to 285 actually, down to 218 in a matter of 3 to 4 months. So what I did with that was I was suspecting poor digestion too. Trying to fix that. So Dr. Mandel, I think his name is. I should look that up. I don't want to mispronounce his name. He recommended poor digestion to wake up in the morning on an empty stomach and get you some sugar-free cranberry juice. Pour a half glass of that. Fresh squeeze of half a lemon, half a lime, a little squirt of honey, and I don't know, maybe a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And then you would fill the rest of the cup up with water and drink that. So I would do that before work, working a 12-hour shift. I would do that before work. I'd go in and drink plenty of water. I'd take my fiber a couple times a day, Metamucil fiber. And then first lunch I would have an apple. Take lunch, second break, and lunch on second break, I would order a salad at a drive-thru close. It was pretty good food. It wasn't junk, kind of pricey for eating that daily, but I was working overtime. So the salad I would get, a lot of times the apple walnut salad with salmon, and that had apple vinaigrette, and I think that vinaigrette, once again, like the apple cider vinegar, is pretty valuable for your digestion, helping break foods down. I would suspect when you get this fat, yeah, I'm pretty blunt about it. It's make no mistake, it is fat. Covered in fat and visceral fat, so the visceral gets inside around your organs and stuff. I'm suspecting that it starts to build around your digestive system. So food's not getting broke down the way it should, and they say that vinegar helps. So I think that was pretty valuable when I had the apple cider or the apple vinaigrette with my apple walnut salads, and then that was getting me plenty of fiber. So I'd have that at lunch around 11 or noon. I went in at 7 to 7. Being maintenance leader stuff, had to be in early. So I would go in about 6:30, and I was having my lunch around noon. So that was my main meal for today. So I'll stop there and hit another set, and then I'll pick back up with where my main meal was, being the apple walnut salad with apple vinaigrette dressing. Add some more weight here. And figure out where all my 10-pound plates went. Definitely seem light on them. And I see them. So getting back to the lunch, I'd have my lunch around noonish. Lunch would be around noon, and then I would eat like a grapefruit somewhere in one of my last breaks around 3 to 5. And that was about it for my eating. I kept usually a dozen hard-boiled eggs in the fridge. I boil them all up at the same time, so if I came home from work, If I did eat anything, it'd be a hard-boiled egg or two, and maybe a handful of blackberries or blueberries. They're good for antioxidants. So, um, so I get that from my fruit. And water, heavy on the water. I was drinking a lot, not overdoing it, but I was drinking quite a bit of water. Helped flush me out. And some of those evenings so I would come home from work, get cleaned up, and go for a run. And I'd run laps around the perimeter of the property. And from there, I would do a rotation of either push-ups and dips one day, pull-ups the next, and then legs. So I would get all those muscle groups, and working 12-hour shifts, that was a good way to cover a lot of muscle groups. I didn't touch these weights much. It was all calisthenics. So if I was hungry after that workout, I may have ate a can of mackerel or something like that. And then before bed, I would have a glass of water and put some apple cider vinegar in it. And I would drink that before bed to help my digestion while I slept. So, I'm giving you all my tips here of what I learned, and I assume it's probably going to work again, as long as I can stick to it. So then I can refer people back to this video, and they'll know how I did it when they see my pictures. So, right now I just look like a fat ass, and I know that. I was watching a video of me sanding upstairs earlier, and I look horrible. Even the video I did last night doing my bench press on here is nothing but fat. So it gets discouraging when it takes a few months to get it off. And it goes slow. It comes on really quick and lose it really slow. So, and it gets boring doing that diet. So where I screwed up is I got down to 218. And I thought, okay, I have it now, stuff's fixed. Now I can start eating pizza on football night. Football came on about that time. And I started snacking, eating junk, going out and eating Mexican. Slowly gained 2 pounds, gained 3 pounds. It was slow at first. At 218, I thought I was going to be okay. I could eat a candy bar here and there. And I wouldn't see much weight gain at first. It was slow. It snuck in. And I was like, well, I just lost 60 pounds. I can lose 10 pounds. So I got up around 230. And even it was winter, so I made the excuse, it's winter, everybody gains weight in the winter. And so then it crept up to 240. And once I hit back up to 240, it just it traps it. And I just steady crept up. Eating anything outside of what I just described earlier, that climbed it right back up, and I hit 280. So now that I'm at 280, I'm stuck. And without everything I just described, if anybody joins in and wants to know what I just was talking about, let me know. If you're struggling with weight gain and you're having a hard time losing weight. But do another set. Nobody's talking really in the chat tonight, so I may not be on here long. I may just go ahead and start hitting my sets. Get it done and over with. Get to bed and get up and go for my run. And I got legs tomorrow. Reps is important. I want to get a lot of reps. So I think it's bad advice on calisthenics. The people that give advice a lot of times, they're already in really good shape. They don't know what it's like to be. They don't know what it's like to be 250, 300 pounds trying to start the calisthenic world. So I feel like they're giving really bad advice when they're telling people not to use the bands. You gotta do good form all the way down, all the way up, slow. Yeah, if you're, I'd say 10% and under body fat, that's great. Probably really good advice, but when you're tipping the scales at 280 and out there doing pull-ups, they don't realize it's a different world. So I'll start to feel a lot of muscle. I don't even know how to describe it. Not really torn tendon, but just a type of pain with that kind of weight. So 280 is a heck of a lot of weight to be doing pull-ups with. And I've got the bands. I'm going to get back on those too, because I think that's horrible advice. If you YouTube how to start doing pull-ups and they tell people don't use the bands, you'll start hanging from the bar or do negatives. It's maybe, I don't see it. I haven't seen it, and I'm 44. I've tried all that. So what I saw worked was the bands, getting more reps, burning more calories. So not to really get on here and bash on them, but I'd rather share valuable information, what I've learned the hard way, so other people don't have to. Thanks for the 5 likes, whoever has given me the likes. Pull-ups are great, and push-ups too. I was saying last night, the best shape I've ever been in. I was riding the bike a lot. Eating sirloins. Didn't care about fruits and carbs. Mainly the carnivore diet, and I didn't even realize it wasn't even a thing back then to be considered carnivore diet. And I was in pretty great shape. So I've got the pictures to back it up too. But I did sports through school, and then a lot of addictions through my 20s. I think that threw stuff out of whack too in my body. So that was damage, I'm pretty sure. Damage on the body. So when I kicked smoking habit, when I kicked drugs, smoking, oh man, when I smoked cigarettes, I was never over 220. And then when I quit, I just blew up and can't keep the weight off, because it was my crutch. Whenever I got stressed or at work or on break, I would smoke. I remember there were days I didn't even eat. I didn't care about eating at all. It's no way to be living, and it sucks when you kick those habits and then you bring on a new one, which is food. And I mean, I admire the ones that's gone through their life and never had to struggle with addictions. They just had a healthy lifestyle, exercise, don't eat much, don't eat the junk, don't eat the pizza. All the different dressings are bad. Everybody's body's different, so I'm speaking experience. I hear people tell me, oh, you can eat that stuff. It won't hurt you. You can eat as long as you work out. No, look at me. 280 pounds. Look at that. That's pure fat. That's from taking that advice. So if you have this body type, I'd strongly suggest to study insulin resistance. Because you can't eat much. That's just going to be the way it is. D Bird's pretty great. I watch him every once in a while. He does nonstop calisthenics. And I heard him mention the other day, somebody asked him something. He gave him great advice, and he told him, you kind of pick your hard. Didn't know what he meant at first, and I think that's why he did that, just to get people wondering what he was talking about. He kept saying, "You pick your hard." So he said, but then when he explained it, it made sense. It's hard to look in the mirror at this, what I just showed you. Look in this camera and see a big fat face, and lift up my shirt and see a big fat waist on me. That's hard. And it's also hard to get up and be disciplined and work out and run and not eat hardly. Eat disciplined, just drink water. That's hard too, so you pick your hard. One's got better benefits than the other, so it's kind of an obvious choice at that point. So that's where I'm at on that too. So I thank him for dropping that nugget to just a quick way to summarize the difference in the two. I mean, it's kind of an obvious concept, but it's a good way to express it. And it's a shame that I see the numbers go up and down for my viewers. And if you kind of study these shorts live streams on what's going on, who's getting the views, most of it's pretty simple in nature. And that's a shame, because the ones better spirited, sharing good knowledge, they're the ones struggling, not getting many views. But I won't sell my soul to get on here and start cranking out 100, 200, 300 likes at a time. You see these people from other countries on here shoving food in their face. They're young, pure gluttons, and extremely sinful in nature. And sometimes they've got 400 or 500 views. So that's not going to be me. If anything, hopefully this, even if it's just a couple people hear this advice. And I can't explain the insulin resistance as good as Dr. Berg, but if anybody hears this and it's a problem and they want to make changes, and then eventually I'll be living proof what it takes. And it's not easy. Well, that was a little easier last year because I was working 12s. It was hot in the summer, so that helped. Sweating in there, that helped quite a bit. But even now, even overweight and stuff like I am, I'll look at other guys I went to school with, and females that's 44, and they don't look anything like I do. So it's helped with my aging, my lifestyle, but it's unfortunate I can't hardly eat anything anymore without gaining. I'm going to change it up on my pull-ups. So I've explained the weight gain, what it takes. Pretty easy concept once you dial it in. So last year, about a month in, once I got down to 250, 240, it was like the weight just started to melt off. And I suspect because the visceral fat was getting eaten up and my digestive system was working a little bit better at that point. So as long as I stayed dialed in, I continued to drop weight pretty quick. I actually loved it. I would get up and look on the scales and lose 2 to 3 pounds a day, and that was great. So eventually I'm going to get back into what what the root for me has been and why I can't stay on the disciplined diet. I don't know if I'm going to get into it now, but just to throw it on out there, it's definitely been females for me and their female nature. If any females do come in here and hear this, feel free to speak from a feminist mindset. And so for me, it's been more, if you know the Bible, you'll know. If you don't, it'd be something good to look into, even just the concept of the story, moral of the story. And that would be the spirit of Delilah. Some call it Jezebel's spirit. And wow, the minute I start to talk about that, my audience just dropped to nothing. So I'll save that for another time in case some people want to join in the conversation. I'm sure they see the weight set and they're excited to see the typical guy on here cranking it out, acting a fool, barking out, you know, a bunch of adrenaline. Yeah, that's, you know, I think every night might be different, but I'm definitely noticing a pattern on here of what people enjoy and what they don't. All right, I'm back. Hopefully, I know there's buffering going on. So I just went to check my laptop, see if the video was even working right. So, yeah, I was just touching on my weight loss journeys over the past, and now I'm back up to 280 and I'm going to do it all over again. Yep. So also what I'm seeing is I get a lot of views, people scanning through, and if I'm not in the picture, they stop and look at the weight set, but when I'm talking, the numbers just drop. Last night I had 2 people in here talking with me. So I think I'll save that topic of Delilah spirit and Jezebel and all the narcissism for another time. I'll share my experience and what I'm seeing day 3. I get more views showing the weight set than I do when I talk. So that's nothing new. That's nothing new at all. A lot of people haven't liked my spirit over the years. I've gotten used to it. But like the Bible says, it can't be unequally yoked, so if they're looking for sinful content, they can keep on moving. It's not going to be happening in here. It would be nice if people would get some conversation going in the chat. I'm not really the talking type to where I'd like talking to hear myself. I like to have conversations and learn about other people, learn from them, help each other. But it's all good lessons in life. Majority, as they say, are living in the Matrix, Satan's playground, so they can frolic together. And it's unfortunate. I've seen the female nature over the years. So when I get slim waist, lose a bunch of weight, I usually pretty easy time getting a female. And it's usually ones I'm attracted to also. So we'll cross paths, and it's always pretty great, and it's always a lot of that narcissistic dynamic. You know, they're getting their supply from me and my attractiveness. You don't think it now because you're seeing me after another go with the narcissist that just discarded me a month and a half ago. So anybody that knows anything about narcissism knows they want to destroy your soul. They think they own you. They take your love for a weakness. And especially if you're higher on the spectrum of a super empath. So I'm sure it goes both ways. I hear the women talk about the guys, so I can only speak of my experience as a man. And what I've encountered with most female companions I've had, I'll be on my grind doing my thing, pretty good shape, and the females come along, and as I said, you can't tell it now because I'm at 280 pounds. And then when I get down to 215, it'll be a little more obvious what they're attracted to. Most of them say they're not all about looks, and I call BS on that 100%. They are all about looks in the beginning, and who isn't really, if we're honest with ourselves. We like to look at, I'll admit it, I like to look at who I potentially, looking for a lifelong partner, I want to like looking at them. I don't want to look at some 350 pound woman, because that says a lot about their personality. They basically, same thing I just did. I let myself go. So I'm getting what I deserve with the females at this point. I let myself go. In the past, when I was younger, I'd get hit by those more of the malignant narcissists. And like I said, they want to destroy your soul. They want to destroy you. And they want to show you who's it. You know, I was about to say multiple things at once. Who's the boss? Who's in charge? You're nothing to them. They can do better. They'll find better supply elsewhere, and they're going to rub it in your face and try to drive you in the ground. So younger years, I turned to drugs. That was where I turned, and that's part of the dynamic. So now when it happens, I turn to food. And a lot of doctors have said that they've noticed an increase in sugar and sodiums. And that does exactly what it just did to me. It pumped that weight on pretty quick. That's coping with the heartbreak and depression from what happened. Even if it's slow, this time I knew the playbook, and it happened again. So if anybody in the comments, I see it says we have 3 people. I think 2 of my devices are on, so really it's 1. If anybody's in here knows anything about the narcissism, what I'm talking about, feel free to comment. just sucks because we're getting into the world now that people know somewhat. I'd say majority of them are highly narcissistic themselves. They say they know what one is, but they don't. Their ego's too freaking big to even look into it. They know the word and they think they know, but they don't have a clue. So God, angels, whoever all was involved, whatever force, enlightened me quite a bit. So I know what we're up against with them. It's all spiritual warfare, and they'll try to make you feel crazy like you don't know what you're talking about. You're the one with the problem. It's you. You're the narcissist. That's what I've heard is their go-to, and I've found it to be true. If you try to call them out, it's a bad idea because they're not going to acknowledge it whatsoever. Personally, once I learned it, like they say, you'll question, am I the narcissist? And it's because everybody's got the traits. Everybody has the traits. It's on a spectrum. So a good way to describe that is, I'll just throw her name out there because she's how I found out about all this. Malignant narcissism. If she wasn't so extreme, I wouldn't have probably figured it out. But I'd seen this stuff over the years. I kind of could even predict it, and then it would happen. So I knew the storyline and the playbook. So a good example is she had two autistic grandsons. And they were young. They came over when she was living with me, and they were both autistic. But one could function and run around and play. He just couldn't talk, at least. Maybe not worked with to even try to talk, but he couldn't talk. But for the most part, he'd run around and play and do his thing. And then her other grandson, he would sit and rock. And he wouldn't do much anything but rock and moan and groan. And they're kind of like, I'm sure people's seen it depicted before, the rocking back and forth. And he'd have a water bottle, and empty water bottle was his thing. He'd chew on it and crinkle it and chew on it. And that was just, he'd freak if you tried to take that from him. That was pretty extreme, I would say, on the autism. So that's a spectrum example there of one, how he functioned versus the other one. And narcissism, same thing. It's on a pretty big spectrum. A lot of different forms of it. I almost hate the term narcissism because I think it's all spiritual. It's an easy way to describe it, but I wish they had a better word for it that people didn't get so defensive when it got brought up to them. Because they hear narcissist and they automatically shut down. Some of them, you'll see them shake their head and don't want to talk about it. No communication, no speaking skills. All ego and ego. So, ego, control. It's just listening to an evil force they don't even realize they're listening to. But you can't convince them of that at all. I'd say prayer, if there's any chance, possibly prayer. Show them a more pure type of love that they don't possess. They may have some form of love. I'll get back into this topic another day. It started for me when I was, I'd say 6th grade. As far as, it's always been around for the most part, but it can be around in school, it can be around at work, friends, family. So it's always been around. But when I keep it dialed in on the relationship world, the first, more so Delilah's spirit that I got hit by, I was in 6th grade. 6th grade. So, heck, what was I, about 12? Something like that? What is it? 18 as a senior. So, 15 as a freshman. Yeah, 12. I was about 12 when I got hit by my first narcissist, and that was a pretty hard blow. It was a girl. Getting a little carried away here. Nobody's talking in chat, so I'm just continuing on. It was a girl I liked quite a bit. Name was Nicole. It's hard telling what she's up to nowadays, so I'll throw her name out because I don't even live around there anymore. So Nicole, I liked her in 5th grade. Had a little crush on her. And then 6th grade, we was out at the skating rink for the dance. And, the skating, they skated. It was Friday, Saturday nights or whatever. So I was out there and I thought my dreams just came true. She was out there and we got to dance. So they would skate for like the first hour or two, and then they'd open up the dance floor and everybody dance. And then into the night, or the very last song, it was always a slow dance. So that was kind of the romantic. It was pretty cool in a flashback to think of that whole scene being that young. But see people from school out there dancing with their girlfriends and boyfriends and being young like that. So I remember we danced and numbers were exchanged. So we made plans to meet up, and we met up on our bikes, went for a bike ride together. So kind of feeling like my first girlfriend. I liked her quite a bit. And then say a day or two after that, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't know what day. That could have been on a Friday, and I went back to school. So the situation I'm about to explain, I don't know what day it happened on, but it was directly after we rode bikes together. No warning. Didn't do anything wrong. Heck, I was what did I say? About 12? Wasn't even a teenager. So no typical relationship world games that get played now. Heck, I'm 44, so so at 44, this was about 30 years ago. 32. So 32 years ago, it was a different world with the social media and all that, calling each other on the house phones. And so we met up and rode the bikes. Anyway, point is, going to school, I remember going to band class, and Ryan, I almost threw his last name out there. Ryan, which I ended up being cool with him. I don't have anything against him. That wasn't him, that was her. I mean, kind of on him too. We were cool, but that's the name of the game. So Nicole, Ryan came up to me and he basically told me before band that she's not my girlfriend anymore. And he said that that's his girlfriend now. So at that point in my life, I had done Taekwondo for 2nd and 3rd grade, roughhoused with brother, dad, and big time wrestling in the living room. I was on the wrestling team. I could handle myself for being that age, but I wasn't. I was pretty timid, disciplined with the Taekwondo. I wasn't looking to hurt people and stand up for myself or whatever, however you want to call it. I just took it as an L with Nicole, and that hurt quite a bit. So even in that moment, I sensed the supply. Basically, she got it off of going. He was one of the ones that was smoking in 6th grade and pretty narcissistic in nature himself, so I'm sure that worked wonders with her. those are the type that pull a lot of the women. So a few years ago, I started studying relationship advice, and there's like Coach Corey, Casey Zander. In a way, they give good advice, maybe, especially dealing with breakups and finding your purpose as a man. But at the same time, they're preaching everything they're teaching is teaching you how to be a narcissist and pull multiple women, and it works. That's the sad part. It's a freaking playbook of a narcissist, and it works on them. I didn't really know it at the time when I was studying their stuff, but once I found out what the narcissist is and the strategies they use, and I compared it to what these dating coaches are teaching, and they're teaching you how to be a narcissist. So take that for what it's worth. Yeah, they'll teach you how to line up a bunch of supply, how to make them crave you like a drug, basically flip the script on them. And if they're a narcissist, you're just on a higher level, so they're craving it from you. A lot of these relationships are narcissist versus narcissist. That's why they all fail. And I checked the divorce rate. I don't even know what it is anymore, but I know it's sky high. Nobody cares about traditional love, marriage, long-term, becoming as one anymore. Thanks, stepped on a Lego. Okay, I figured so. Congratulations. Okay, thanks for the heads up on that. That's definitely not a good thing to be showing off on here. And I just wanted to congratulate Lucas Carter, because you're the first troll I've gotten so far. So I could probably play those games just as well, if not better than you, but I'm not that type. Obviously, I've got the name Team Jesus for a reason, so. If you want to be cool, that's fine. I don't know. I know you can mute people, whatever, so. I'm not really into those games. If you want to come in here and talk crap, that's on you. But I do like the name Stepped on a Lego. It's a creative one. And I do appreciate the heads up on the whole butt crack too. So yeah, you're right. You gotta pray for your enemy. I've gotten really good at that over the years, so yeah, it's a war against the flesh constantly. You missed the majority of what I talked about earlier, and that's fine. I was talking about my own struggles, and that was exactly what it was, war against the flesh, with my eating habits and addictions. I had quite a few addictions in my 20s, and over time, that's exactly, yeah, you're right, it's a war against the flesh. So yeah, take heed to that, Lucas. Just gotta pray, man. Pray pretty hard and start studying the Word and getting the seeds of the Bible in you. I don't think it's what a lot of people make it out to be. I would consider myself Christian, but it's not this great awakening, everything's fixed and everything's perfect. Now, I would say that prayer helped me overcome my drug addictions. And that was like crying out. That was like a crying out type of prayer, begging for help, like the point of breaking me, breaking my soul. because I couldn't do it on my own. And my mom, sadly, she passed away at 55 from drinking and pills. So, and she would go to AA, she would go to church, and it just had a hold of her. I can't explain. Like they say, God's ways are not our ways. I can't explain why she didn't get the instant, whatever you want to call it, fix, take those addictions away from her. So I carry it with me. Yeah, sorry to hear that, Lucas, man. You got to just stay strong. I don't know if you bailed out already, but prayer. And that's what I was talking about with the narcissist I've dealt with over the years. It's everywhere. People trying to run each other down, break each other's spirits. And that's what they want. Turn to alcohol, drugs. For me, since I don't do any of that anymore, it's been food. I just came out of another toxic one. Different scenario, but in the end, I just kind of said heck with it. And that's, part of the dynamic. So I gained 50 to 60 pounds pretty quick. Yeah, some more people showing up. That's nice. Feel free to subscribe. This is a new channel. It's new, and it's only my third day live streaming. I don't know what direction I'm going to go at this point. Right now, I'm just trying to meet some people and talk to them. See what people like, what they're interested in. Feel free to let me know in the comments what you normally like to watch on YouTube. I like making videos on house projects, do it yourself. I think I need to start getting more into the fitness stuff, because last year I lost 60 pounds. Oh, everybody's gone. Says it dropped down to one viewer. So I'll just drop that topic right now, everybody. Everybody that was listening just bailed out. I almost feel like I'd have better luck just working out and keeping my mouth shut. And I would be okay with that if I could play some music without getting the copyright strikes. Well, feel free to say hi if you're in here, like and subscribe. I'm new on the live stream, so I'll take any tips, advice anybody's got to give. I was talking about my struggle with weight gain a little bit ago. Nobody really stayed. They didn't seem to care about that. And I was talking about relationships over time, narcissism. Been getting hit by that spirit since I was about 12, as far as I can remember, in the dating world. Says I've been on here over an hour. Over an hour and 6 likes. So, I don't know how many other people live stream if you're hearing this. I've been trying to document my first few days experience live streaming. Last night was pretty good. Had some friendly guys come in, DJ and Victor. I talked quite a bit. Actually, a couple nights now. The audience has been pretty decent. Tonight, not so much. It seems like for me, when I leave the room and just leave it on the weight set, I'm getting more views with people looking at the weight set than they are listening to me talk. So that's something to think about. Especially when all I do is try to give good vibes and positive advice. It's unfortunate what people are attracted to in this world. Heck, you think about anything really, movies, music, wrestling, WWE, any of that stuff, what sells is pretty highly sinful in nature. It would be nice to get what, like they would describe as a paradigm shift into a world. And then you think about the Mandela effect and stuff like that, which is strange. It's almost, I don't know. You go back through 80s and 90s, I'm 44, and even then, it's always been around. The sinful stuff is what sells. Anybody want any advice on dieting or anything? I've got quite a bit of knowledge. That's why I want to start documenting um, results when I apply what I know. A lot of people have knowledge, they just don't apply it. So for me, it's getting harder each time. So I'll lose the weight pretty quick and I pack it back on the minute I break my diet. And each time it gets harder to bring it back off. I've done it 3 or 4 times now. The heaviest I ever weighed was 315 pounds. And from there I got down around 215. Last year I was at 285. I got down to 218. So it's achievable. And I know basically a system that works. Now I just got to apply it. Start to get older, sometimes you get a relationship that fails, and it's kind of like, why even bother? Why even do all this freaking discipline for a woman that just treats me like a toy, plays with me for a while, and then boots me on down the road, final discard for the next supply? So I hurt myself and self-sabotage at that point. No drugs, no smoking, no alcohols. And at that point I hit the food. And I like pizza, I like Mexican, I like junk. Unfortunately. But I can't have it, or I'm going to continue to be unhappy when I look in the mirror. And that hurts you too when you're on the job force and people look at you like a big fat ass. And you're slow and overweight. And sadly, nobody's perfect and they don't view it like that. So one job I'll bring up, I was there 6 years, 12-hour shifts, and the majority were alcoholics. They talk about alcohol all the time. And they was ready to clock out and beeline it to their car and get home and drink their alcohol. And, they look like they're in good shape, but it's all an illusion. They'd look down on me like they were fit and in shape and had it going on, and really they're alcoholics too. So it's a mirage. So I was told my butt crack's been showing. I'll be curious to go back and see the footage, see just how bad that was. I apologize to anybody that saw that. I don't want to make a habit of that at all. I've always turned my head. So I had 2 of them tell me butt crack showing. So the only other angle I could do with this camera, you wouldn't even see the weight set. So That'd be great if people would talk about some other stuff instead of me just rambling on about all this. I mean, it's good information, and I feel like if I ever need to share it with somebody, they can go back and watch my videos. All I'm doing now is extra. This isn't anybody that's watching and critiquing. This isn't normal workout style. I worked out earlier. This is just extra. And I think, especially when I get my other phone I ordered, I think I'll start setting the camera up outside and I'm just going to work out and run. And I'm not probably going to talk much. I probably won't talk much, and I'll just do my workouts, and I may look at the camera and speak then, but this will be more of a time when I can talk, because this is just extra. And it's helping me from running down to the gas station and picking up a bag of chips or some beef jerky. That was a major problem for me. Sneaks in on me. It sneaks in. So, yeah, the last girl I was talking to, she, once again, same old freaking pattern of abuse. And she was pretty good. Didn't really see it coming. A little slicker than the malignant one. The malignant one was an alcoholic, so that amplifies any of that narcissism. And she flipped through the playbook pretty quick, so I'm sure I'll cover all that eventually. And it's good to know and be aware of, especially the younger people. They don't know what they're in for. Especially when you're seeing it at work and relationships, think you found your soulmate and all it is a big mirroring and love bombing job. And then they want to groom you. So I could sum up the narcissist in, I'd say about 10 to 15 terms pretty quick. People get creative and they come up with more and all this, but for the gist of it, they'll fill you out. And if you're deemed good supply, you're doing something to attract them. Either it's the way you look, the way you walk, the way other people interact and they see it. There's a vibe that they're attracted to. And it's mostly, I would say, so I really want to make it clear anytime I talk about narcissism, I'm on the spiritual side. I'm not buying these doctors. I mean, yeah, they've got it figured out too, and that helps. But I'm more spiritual. I'm not buying into the theory of the clinical diagnosis of the narcissistic personality disorder. For me, it's all spiritual and it comes in a lot of different forms. And that's why all these doctors say that there's no cure, can't cure narcissism. Well, yeah, they're harboring some freaking demons. And unless you know how to pray them out, can discern that or get them to pray and work on it themselves, yeah, that's why they can't cure it, because it's not cured by a pill or a sit down on the couch. It's spiritual in nature. So harboring demons they don't even really know is being harbored. And it's a crazy dynamic because it goes on in the churches too. You hear the stories and see the comments and people describing and on podcasts talking about it going on in the churches too. So it's everywhere. But so spiritual in nature, and I think they're attracted to your light. They see the light, they can't, some people would call it a chosen one. And there's that light they're attracted to, like a moth to a flame. There's an attraction there. There's a vibe frequency it's something's there. And so a lot of times, whatever you did, you attracted them. Unless it's, work or family, somebody you just stuck around. So the attraction is where it starts with they deem you a good supply, grade A supply. Grade A supply. From there, they'll start to kind of feel you out, see what you're about, ask little subtle questions. In your mind, you're thinking they're interested. Yeah, they're interested, but not the way you want them to be. They're feeling you out, and they're like basically view it like a spider casting its web. And whether you're about to rip through that web or get stuck in it, it's all going to transpire over time. So they're feeling you out, seeing what you're about, seeing if you're deemed good supply. And from there, they'll start to kind of pick up on little stuff about you, personality traits, stuff you talk about, stuff you like, interests. They'll kind of mirror it. Like I'll give an example of Tanya. This is the malignant narcissist. So example of her, I met her at work, and she knew I liked to work out. She knew I would talk about going home and working out, and all of a sudden she comes into work, and the guy she was staying with, she got her bench press out and dusted it off, and she knew I didn't really drink a lot. Yeah, I need to stop drinking. I need to, she knew I don't cuss much. I need to stop cussing so much. And at the time I didn't know, even the way I worked, she would start, people would say that wasn't like her. She'd come around friendly and talk to me. They said normally she was a B. I don't know how they are with copyright, but you know what I'm saying. That was her image around there. So they were saying it was out of character the way she was coming around me all the time. And for me, I just thought, great, this is cool. Maybe she's feeling me like I'm kind of feeling her. And I was getting excited about the way things was going at work, and started mirroring me pretty hard. And they're also grooming you. So they're trying to get you in line. Because they don't like boundaries, and if you don't stay strong as a man, basically like the story of Samson and Delilah, he gave in to Delilah. So if you don't stay strong to your boundaries, they're going to see that. And she did test me little ways, hindsight, giving me the cold shoulder, stonewall, see how I reacted if stuff bothered me. I have a good heart, high super empath on the spectrum. So all that bothered me. And the mirroring was going on, the grooming was going on. And I was talking to a woman on Facebook that was pretty attractive too. And this other woman, she, we'll just go ahead and call her Julie. We talked, and her parents owned the Amish furniture store. So she had asked me about meeting up at her parents' furniture store and finding a bedroom suit. So there's some expensive bedroom suits. And so I mentioned to Tanya at work that I was possibly going to go out on my days off and meet up with Julie and check out this furniture. I would guess that she got on my Facebook and realized that Julie was liking and loving on pictures and stuff like that. So I think at that point it cranked it up, and she knew she had to make a move and make it quick. So, and that's what she did, Tanya. She interfered with that. She made sure that didn't happen with Julie. We made plans to go meet up at the park. And Julie was a pretty great looking woman. She was a little bit older than me too. They was both 5 to 10 years older. I just call it that for now. Um, and I think when she saw Julie, she was intimidated because Julie worked at the dentist office, and Tanya was with me at the factory. So she really cranked it up. Love bombing was pretty heavy. She was bringing me food to work, cooking food, home cooked food, bringing it to work. I thought it was really going in a good direction. We went for a walk, made out, and put a rush on things in the bedroom. I'd say within a time or two of hanging out, Tanya told me she loved me. She says, goes to leave and tells me, I love you. And then, it was all just game. So she ended up leaving the guy she'd been with for, I don't even know how long. It was a good while. She had been with the guy, but he was like more of a friend. She slept in a different room with him. So she ended up moving out on him, moving in with me. And that's when it hit the fan. So I realized pretty quick once she moved in here, what the heck did I just bring in my home? Not at first. The love bombing went on for a few weeks. Had her family over here talking me up like a king. Any music I liked, she was playing it, and it just, man, it's super extreme. So yeah, that's about all I'll tell on that story. Nobody's talking. If anybody can relate to that, let me know in the comments. So back to the playbook of the narcissist, the love bombing. The love bombing was super heavy, and it felt great. Thank you, God, you brought me my soulmate. Finally, I've straightened my life up. I've left the drugs behind. I've done good. I've been a good worker. I've been working overtime. You're gifting me and blessing me. All that. Yeah, I thought I found my soulmate. You hear that? Anybody that's been through this, that's what you're going to hear. It's the same playbook. View it like that. So, the love bombing. And then gradually they'll start to pick you apart, something little. So she cooks lasagna one night, and I was excited to have some home cooked lasagna. Hadn't had it in years. She was a great cook. 100% credit on that. She's an awesome cook. So I was excited for this lasagna, and we sat down on the couch, went to put a movie on, and it wasn't 30 seconds or a minute, a little piece of meat or spaghetti sauce fell on my shirt. And I'm like, oh, dang. She's like, what? I said, I just spilled spaghetti sauce. So I went to the kitchen to go get another wet rag or something, try to clean it off real quick. And so she didn't really look at me. She kind of looked at me, looked me over, and then she says, oh my God, I moved in with a fucking slob. And I kind of laughed. I didn't think much of it. And I kind of laughed and chuckled about it. And then I looked over at her and just had this evil look in her eye. And she's just eating. And she had some OCD going on, but definitely alcoholic. We'd come home so the first time when she moved in, we rode to work together. I was excited. That was great. We're riding to work together. I really liked this woman. Rode home the first day, and I'm thinking, okay, we're finally home from work. I'm going to grab her up, grab her by the waist in the kitchen, or, get a kiss, whatever. Hurries up, turns her back, heads to the fridge, and opens the door and goes straight for the beer. And that's when I was like, oh, dang. This is not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. Because it was instant. Soon, I didn't know her like that until she moved in, so beware. That was rushed, and that was a mistake. We didn't really date for weeks and months. We had been hung out outside of work a few times, and she moved in. She mentioned getting an apartment, but me being good-spirited, No, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. I'm working a lot of overtime. So my overtime I was making, bring home at that point in that position, I was bringing home about 1,200 a week after taxes. So, um, and she was making similar money. She just didn't go in for the overtime. Actually, I always worked her overtime days. When they pulled her, I'd work it so she didn't have to. She'd been there 20 years. Um, she mentioned getting her own apartment, and I just told her, um, don't do that to yourself. I mean, heck, then you're going to have to get all furniture and pay the rent. Just move in here and help maybe with some bills and groceries. And so I never asked her for a dime while she lived here that couple months. She did load the kitchen heavy with nothing but junk, absolute junk. And I warned her the way my metabolism is, I could not be eating that stuff, but she freaking piled it in here heavy. And she'd want to come home and drink and sit on the porch and eat some chips, and slowly that slim waist body of mine was fading. And she saw it too, because she said, it's crazy how quick you lose it. And, started just chipping away at me. It's like I have a junk drawer in the kitchen. She opened that up, and what's this? What is this? What is all this? Oh, you have a junk drawer? Yeah. Yeah, it's just, I mean, I've been a man living by myself for a while, so yeah, that's where stuff ends up. And moral of that story is, when she moved out on me and got her own apartment, she ended up hoovering me. If you don't know what the hoover is, that's when they like to keep bringing you back. If they haven't replaced you yet, they'll keep bringing you back. They don't want to let you go completely. So she would get drunk and call me over to the apartment when she moved out on me. I'm skipping chapters of the story, but I'm hanging out with her, and she had a junk drawer. So that's just the type of head playing. Yes, sir, Titus. I agree. I mean, you know, I hate to look like I'm in here bashing on women, and you're right. I'm 44. They try to gaslight you and try to, you know, this goes back to Adam and Eve. And that whole dynamic with the snake, being easily deceived. It's in their nature. I feel for them. I pray for them. I wish more of them would acknowledge it, and I wish more men were this aware too. You know, I'm not a woman hater. There is a lot of feminist movement going on in the world. Just agendas being pushed for the female. That's female nature, as you just described. I've studied a lot. And you're right. It's always been like this. You gave some really valuable information, and that just summed up quick. You know, they try to emasculate you. Man, I could go on and on. I've seen it all over the years, and just when I think nothing surprises me, they come with some more tactics. So that would be great. I could have uploaded this. So I don't know if you're still here or not, but so heartbreak. First girl I fell in love with was at 18. And from that, I downward spiraled. I started getting high a lot, running the streets, getting arrested. And that all stemmed from the heartbreak of the girl I had fallen in love with, and first girl I slept with, leaving me for her brother-in-law, having him over and sleeping with him. And then, so I was 18, she was like 15. I was 17 when I got with her, then I hit 18. And then she dumped me started screwing around with the brother-in-law, and then left him for some 26, 27-year-old. And he was he was the type, had the Camaro covered in tattoos. You know, she's a 15-year-old, but that's what she wanted. Giving her the business. So, and he gave it to her. So anyway, I was heartbroken. And I didn't want to just move on and dump her. I kept thinking maybe she'd change her mind and come back and all that nonsense. Pure form of love for her. And so I turned to getting high, running the streets. Eventually started getting arrested. I did 2.5 years on receiving stolen properties and some thefts. Was selling weed at the time. And got out for a year, and I ended up going back for 4 years on a fleeing. So at the end of all that, I was 29 when I got out. Boom, 20's gone. So this whole time in my 20s being locked up, I felt like I had a whole new appreciation for women. But the problem was I missed my 20s in gathering that experience and what they're about. I've been getting hit by this spirit since I was like 12. If you went back to the beginning of the video, that's what I was explaining. This goes back to my first crush of being 12. So I think there's kind of two options on it, really. Basically, good and evil's the spiritual warfare of it. You can stick it out and be a man of God, and if God wants to bless you, then it's going to happen with a great woman. Like the Bible verse says, he who can find a virtuous woman, her value is far beyond rubies. And so when you think of rubies and the value of a ruby, extremely valuable, and that Bible verse says a virtuous woman value is far beyond a ruby. And that should tell you something. I see a lot of truth in that Bible principle there. It's unfortunate it's like that. So you can sell your soul, be more narcissistic, and yeah, you're going to pull the women pretty easy. You can be all about yourself and ego, and they're going to be impressed because they're hypergamous, and they're going to see the ones with the sexual market value, and then the social, trying to think too quick, the social status is pretty big for them. So when you've got that ego, and you leave them hanging, you play head games with them. You cause them to chase and question if you really like them. It's all narcissistic in nature, and that's what works on most women nowadays, especially with social media. Man, and I keep seeing that message. Social media has made them freaking horrible. If any women want to discuss with me, sure, let's do it. It'd be nice to talk it out with somebody on this topic because it's an uncomfortable topic people don't like to hear. It's made them 10 times worse, 100,000 million, whatever times worse. A lot of them won't admit it, but they're so flooded with in their inbox with men hitting them up. It's ridiculous. I don't think people even realize just how bad it is. I've worked with girls, had ex-girlfriends showing me their inboxes, showing me their block list. You're extremely ignorant if you don't think they have options and could replace you in a heartbeat, because they can. Especially the good-looking ones. If you saw the pictures of these girls I'm mentioning, they're not ugly girls by any means. Extremely attractive. So I know it's hard to believe when you see me now, and I just got out of another dynamic and just packed on 60 pounds out of it. But it's just best to stay good, stay humble, pray for them, not get bitter. You know, there's quite a few people speak on narcissism. They don't speak about the spiritual side of it. And I don't get it. They don't want to. You speak of God and Satan's minions and evil spirits and demons, and angels at work and heavenly realms, they don't want to acknowledge any of that. They want to keep it like ego, themselves, even though they're talking about narcissism. They want to think they're completely in charge. You know. So it does get depressing when, you know, it's all been a big mirage over the years. It's kind of brings you down in your soul. I mean, it's good to have the enlightenment, but it's kind of a hard thing to acknowledge and go through life with. It's hard for me to run off the dopamine rushes now when I see it all more for what it really is. You know, it's tough to get real excited about stuff when I know a lot of times it's a mirage, especially relationships. So I somewhat experimented on the. I'm skipping a heck of a lot. Kind of experimented with talking to a few girls that's in prison. So now in prison they can text and call. And actually one of them, she's doing life. And extremely freaking attractive, super hot. She's been in there for 13 years. And I actually really liked her. Great spirit to talk to. She goes to church, does Bible studies. And for me it worked because I was working on myself. And I'd been in a similar position in my 20s. And over the course of a year, same exact playbook. I was sending her, so that they can text now with these tablets and make calls and stuff. I was sending her, I was working a lot of overtime at this time, so I could afford it. I would put 30 to 40, even $50 on her phone tablet, so she could purchase movie packages, music packages. Texting is 10 cents a text. And then she could make her phone calls with that too. And that was every 2 or 3 weeks. I was sending her 40 to 50 normally on that. And then anywhere between 80 to 100 for her to shop at the store with, as well as buying her books. Bought her 3 or 4 clothes boxes. One food, and all of those were anywhere between $300 to $500. So major money being spent. Half-hour talks on the phone, calling me back to back. You know, once again, making me feel like a king, making me feel loved. That type of love I always hope to find. But it took its course too. Eventually, always agreeing, always, you know, the love bombing stuff, it started to change, picking me apart a little bit. And then I got a call one day of her crying and telling me that she got caught in the window at night, flirting with a CO, and she was about to go to the hole. So if you don't know what a CO is, that is a correction officer. And that was after a year of a lot of time and money and energy, love invested with her. So even in a dynamic of a woman being in prison, looking at a life sentence, not going back to parole till 2029, still the same old song and dance, same playbook. Blocked me 4 times. I'm still blocked right now. All because I mentioned hopefully God changes her heart someday and she'll consider marriage. Don't take that the wrong way. I wasn't pressuring her like marriage with me. So I've had a lot of heart issues the last year. Gaining weight like this. And one night my heart was scaring me quite a bit. My ears started ringing. Shoulder went numb. Feeling a bit nauseous. Scaring me quite a bit. Started chugging water, trying to thin my blood in case blood was thick. Blood pressure was way up. So I wrote her a message. I didn't really tell her that's what was going on, but I told her, whether she gets out, she thinks she's getting out early all the time. She thinks she could get out any month. She's got some attorney coming and keeps seeing her and telling her he's getting her out early, which I pray and hope she does get out. She's been in there 13 years over a picture. That's all. She was over a picture. I've read the police report, so that's not a lie. She's been there 13 years doing a complete life sentence over a picture. And the act that was going on in that picture. So, and I do love her, so don't get me wrong when I talk about her. I did fall in love with her, and I still will always have a love for her. So my point is, she thinks she's getting out like any month, and my heart was acting up quite a bit and scaring me. And I just wrote her telling her, because I don't know what's going to happen to me. If she doesn't get out till 2029 or life, I may not be here the way my heart and my partying in my 20s was. So I wrote her a message, telling her either way, I've got her back. I'm there for her, whether she gets out soon or not. And I just wanted her to know that. And I said, that I love her. And I told her I just need to keep focusing on my health and losing weight and staying in shape and working on stuff for be the best version of myself as a man I can be. And I told her that I know she doesn't have any interest in getting married someday, but hopefully maybe someday God will change her heart. And so she didn't say anything about that. She didn't reply back to that message. And like I said, I didn't tell her my heart was acting up when I wrote that. Maybe that's my fault. I should have told her. But it was just something on my heart at that time I wanted her to know. So a couple days went by. She called the next day and the day after, and didn't mention the text whatsoever. I could tell something vibe was weird. And then all of a sudden I got a message. So I got a long message from her. I was happy at first when I went to read it, and it was pretty much telling me, I keep bringing up marriage. I'm going to shove her away. I told you I'm never getting married, not to you or anybody. I'm getting my last name changed when I get out because she was adopted. Basically bitched me out for that, and I didn't want to get the back and forth going in text, so actually I went to write her and ask her to call, and she called when I did, and it just went downhill from there. It didn't matter what I said. She had her mind made up. And so that call ended with her telling me, fuck off, I'm done with you. And hung up on me and blocked me, and I've been blocked past month and a half now from that. So, going back to my 20s, I thought I had a whole new appreciation for these women. Being locked up, being away from them, drugs, I'm like, man, I was freaking stupid. There's good women out there. Awesome women. Attractive, sexy, good spirits. And I've been out for 14 years now, and I've got nothing but freaking steamrolled by them. It don't matter if I'm 215 pounds or 315. Now, I'll tell you right now, when I was 315 pounds, they wouldn't even look at me. I'd go in a store, and that was a good lesson in life for me to experience what that was like. I'd go in a store, Walmart, and just try to be friendly and say hi, and they'd look at the ceiling or look away. They didn't want to be seen talking to my fat ass. That's the hard truth of that. So that went on for a few months before I buckled down and lost that weight. So a lot of people haven't walked both sides to have the abs and the nice ripped arms and shoulders. Seen the way a woman looks at you versus walking up to them at 315 pounds and turn their nose up at you. Won't even give you the time of day at all. So, yeah, he Titus 1, that was so. Just to read it out, if anybody refers back to this live stream someday. Titus 1 says, women have always been like this. Social media made them 10 times worse. They always need attention. And he's 100% right. Maybe, like I said, if you got two options. You can act like a narcissist and pull the women. Or you can join the God Squad, Team Jesus. Be a good person, good soul, and you may find that diamond in the rough that doesn't always need attention, but far and few between. Like I said, they've steamrolled me pretty hard for loving them. It's a weakness to them. How dare you fall in love? I'm on here and I'm saying it. That's exactly what's happened. Never been married, never had kids. And for what? Because I had a pure heart. I call them the whoops babies. Look how many people's gotten pregnant on accident. You know, I tried to do it right, tried to do it pure. Not saying I was an angel, like I said, doing drugs and all that crazy crap after heartbreak when I was 18. So I definitely danced with the devil throughout all that, and that was bad. Bad way to go. But you think about what these women go for and what they're attracted to. It's pretty rare you see a good, genuine couple that sticks it out long term. Become as one, as the Bible says. So it's all spiritual for the most part, in my perception of it. Let me know in the comments if you're listening, if you think it's more spiritual in nature or clinical. I 100% believe it to be spiritual. Spiritual attacks. And God forges me in the fire throughout all of it and makes me better every time, but, you know. It's like even that girl in prison, she said her block list is long. Guys find her. Somehow they find her, even though she's in there doing life. They figure out a way to find her through social media. She said a lot of them just hit her up being creepy. She liked it that I wasn't like that. I was more of a gentleman about it, and in the end, blocked. Blocked 4 times. And then the last, so there was a situation that happened about a week after she blocked me. She had a new roommate, a new coach, my dad mentioned. And that's exactly what this new girl was. She got a new influence. So she had a roommate for like the last 8 years that was been in there 50 years, and the woman was like 80 and got paroled and went home. So she got a couple new roommates back to back. Well, she went to the hole for one, for flirting with the officer on night shift through the window. And then when she told me that, she picked a fight with me about that and blocked me. So I got blocked. Let that be a lesson to you. I got blocked because she was flirting in the window and got caught writing on sticky notes and going to go to the hole. I guess it's different now. When I was in there, if you were going to the hole, you were going to the hole then. So she knew she was about to go to the hole. Well, I guess women's prison may be different. Um, so she knew she was going to the hole and reached out to me about that, crying, pouting. I mean, to me, we've never really physically been together, so I love her soul and try to see her more for who she is. And I wasn't a dick about it when she told me what she'd done, and told her it was, it's something we could learn from and work through. And things, she called like 5 times that day. I think she was worried I was going to leave her, cut the money off, or I didn't play them stupid games. If I didn't have feelings for her, then that was it. But I had feelings for her, so she should have never had to worry about money getting cut off and playing those controlling games, which most people play them, so I'm sure that's what she's used to. So she lets me know about this officer and called me 5 times back to back. The next day calls me, and when I went to bring up something I forgot to mention, it was totally different. Total bitch to me, basically. I barely used that word, but that's what I got that day. When I mentioned something that crossed my mind, and to me it was better just to air it out before she went to the hole, if she even went, rather than having it on my mind. So I went to bring it up and try to talk to her about it, and I thought we already talked about this. Why are you wanting to rehash? Same crap that Tanya used to say to me, just for trying to talk. It probably sounds bad. I'm so experienced with this stuff. It wasn't that type of let's have a talk. I wanted to bring it up quick, move on, and be done with it. Keep a good vibe going. But so I ended up getting chewed out and blocked. And then I think the next day she ended up going to the hole. So she goes to the hole for 45 days and unblocks me and gets a hold of me the day she got out. But I made a mistake I don't know if it's a mistake, somewhat of an error by writing her from a different account, telling her I was sorry. I didn't mean for it to come across like that. The best thing we can do is learn from it and probably never bring it up again. And I mentioned getting her clothes box when she got out of the hole. Still doing it. And so, of course, when she got out of the hole, I got unblocked pretty quick and called. And there goes the money. So on top of, there's another. So on top of money to the books, money to the tablet for the phone and the movies and all that, they have what you call eye care. And eye care, you could send them up to like $40 a week. So they'll cook them. There's a little menu, and I can order it, and it's better food than what prison food is, or what they call chow. So it would be like a burger, a quesadilla, or a cheese pizza, chicken tenders. She liked chicken tenders, so I get her that a lot of times. And I'd spend about $30 to where they delivered it on Friday to her. And that was enough for her to eat some Friday and have some for Saturday. So 2 days out of the week she could eat a better meal. So on top of thousands of dollars that got spent on clothes boxes, food box, money to the books for her to shop with, money on her tablet, she's also getting $30 to $40 on the eye care weekly. I didn't let her go a week without it. She didn't even have to ask. So hopefully this is all sinking in. All these women say, I want a good man. Well, I'm living proof sent by God that they've gotten it. Oh, hello, Malik. Thanks for the motivation there, brother. So Malik just tells me that bro built like a Teletubby. So I've been covering narcissism and evil spirits quite a bit. So, that's me saying hi. I'll pray for you, brother. And it's not a very good spirit to be going through life. Karma will get you. It might not be today. It'll catch up with you if you don't. And I'll pray for you. So yeah, I'm thanking you for the motivation. That's actually why I'm doing this video. I've gained 60 pounds. And I'm on the journey of losing it again. I lost it last year and I picked it all right back up. So yeah, he tells me, bro, built like a Teletubby. And he's right. Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to hear you say that. So, past experience, if you even stick around to hear this, I had a best friend. I've always kind of believed in God and Jesus and all that. Well, I had a best friend, James, and he believed in reincarnation. Everybody's got their different stuff. So, like you say, you don't believe in karma. I mean, share what you believe in. I'd like to hear where your mind's at. So James made it pretty clear he didn't believe in God, and he believed in reincarnation, and then he died at 20 on his motorcycle. So that was a crazy situation in itself. They had a house, an old 1800s house in the town I grew up in, and it was in a Haunted Ohio book, ghost story stuff, known to have spirits in it. There was some weird stuff going on. I had noticed. My sister had even called the cops when she was there alone. Something weird was going on with her, so I had told James about this different stuff that was going on, and we were sitting in there getting high, passing the blunt around. So, okay, I could do that here in a second. Yeah, I could do that. So back to the quick story on James and this ghost story. It's just crazy, man, the way it happened. Because over there, we was getting high. I told him about this ghost stuff, and out of nowhere, he just jumped up. And I'm not going to do it, but aggressively called it out. You know, told it was a bitch, told it, you can't hurt me, show yourself, throwing his arms up, screaming, pretty belligerent. And it wasn't like a day or two later, he stopped by the house on his motorcycle, and he said that he was going to let a friend borrow it, and he was going to use this guy's truck. He said he'd be back in a little bit, and we could take this guy's truck mudding and go for a country cruise. Well, he said, I'll be back in a little bit, and the next time I saw him, he was in a casket. So, that's always made me wonder, think twice about calling out spirits like he did. Could have been coincidence, but okay, so so Malik, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Malik says, give me your viewpoint of karma, because I might change my mind. So whether you want to call it karma, nature, life, God, spirituality, has a way of coming back. So I remember telling a guy at work, when I was in pretty good shape, actually really good shape at that time. He liked the girl that I was describing earlier, the narcissist. He was one of her flying monkeys. Yep. So Titus says, women are the only ones who benefit from a relationship. Men are naturally providers. Yeah, and it should be men are the providers, women are the nurturers, but I don't see a whole lot of that. Yeah, they'll nurture their kid, but that's about it. So back to Malik. So my story was, I was in pretty good shape. This guy at work, he was a flying monkey to this narcissist. Even though he was married, you'd see him at work all up her butt, following her around like a puppy dog, and she was living with me. So he mouthed off to me one day, and I called him a fat fuck and told him if it wasn't at work, I'd beat his ass for talking to me the way he did. Well, now look at me. To me, that's karma. You're calling me a Teletubby. And it's because, yeah, I could stand up and raise my shirt. I'm at 280 pounds now. So that was a lesson that came back to me full circle. And no matter how upset I am, I should show love and pray and not be, so quick to come with that type of aggression, insults. Karma for me is not putting God first. So that, maybe even a Bible verse on it, but like they say, God is a jealous God. God wants you to put him first. That's why there's a commandment not to put basically anything above God. No idols, none of that. God comes first. So if you're not putting God first, I can't explain how it works. I'm not angelic form. I'm not God. Because some people, like my friend James, it kind of went to his own demise. He wasn't. Yep. Titus says Peter fell in the water as soon as he took his eyes off of Jesus. I like the way you think, Titus. Feel free to subscribe. This is my third day live streaming. Just kind of getting a feel for it. Maybe talking to some people, meeting some people. I like where you're at with stuff. I appreciate that. And I even appreciate Malik coming in here because it's a good opportunity. So also karma. I wasn't living the right ways in my 20s. I was weak. I wasn't putting God first. I was choosing drugs over a weakness to heartbreak. And my 4-year sentence, my grandma that I loved like a mother, second mom, died a month and a half before I got out. So she wrote me the whole time I was in there. I get letters from her about every week. I've still got them all, stack of them. She'd tell me, she loved me, talk about the birds she'd see on her back porch and hanging in there for me. And so she dies a week and a half before I got out. And since I was in there on a fleeing and eluding charge, I was considered flight risk and couldn't even go to the funeral. So once again, karma and my bad decisions, choosing bad over good, I don't know. How old are you, Malik? That's a good question too, man, because in my 20s, I'm 44 now. So type of Bible verses is, man, you're young. 17. Yeah, it's like, man, I would love to go back to 17 and pour my knowledge into that 17-year-old me. I'd sit me down, but I probably wouldn't listen. My uncle and dad, they like to have talks with me when I was that age, and it in one ear, went out the other. It's almost like, there's a book, I think it's the Think and Grow Rich book, and they mention a lot of people don't fully develop minds until 40. So if somehow you could master maturing and changing your perception of life at a young age. Okay. That's good, man. Marketing and finance. Yep. It's good stuff. I always like math and want to get into real estate investing eventually. That's why I work all the overtime when I work. I'm more maintenance, but yeah. Keep it up, bro. Just stay strong and if you could learn any Bible principles at that age, it's great. So the way I would view that is knowing what I know at 44, taking Bible principles. If I could go back, it wouldn't have steered me in a bad direction. It's when I wanted to make my own decisions and manipulate things and think I had a better way, that it just crumbled. It just doesn't work, man. And I would really beware of the females. I hate to say that because it's great to have good relationships and love, but God needs to come first. And, loving your enemy, praying for them. And there's also a part in there about loving yourself. So you do need to learn to love yourself. Sorry if that wasn't the best answer on karma. It's just some life experiences that I've had. Judging a tree by the fruit it bears. You reap what you sow. I'd hear reap what you sow when I was young, and I didn't even really know what the heck it meant. It's not until you look up the definition of sow and then reap and sow, and then you put it together, and it makes perfect sense then. So, now me, look at me, I'm 44, lost all my 20s in prison, and somebody like you, 17, who starts working on your credit, you're in marketing and finance. As soon as you get 18 and can get you a credit card, I'd be smart about it, but I'd start studying how to build credit, because that was a major mistake I made over the years. I wanted to buy everything cash and outsmart the system and not pay interest, and in the end, now I've got a 770 credit score, but it's stuff that takes a lot of time. I started working on it 6 or 7 years ago, so somebody like you be way ahead of the game if you start just looking up how to build your credit. So you would want to get a secure card when you're 18. So you have to put your own $200 probably on a card. And just don't be stupid about it. Use it to buy gas, pay it back. Buy gas, pay it back. It'll take time. I would try Capital One first, and then Discover. They're the most likely to give you a card. There's some tips for the next few years if you're still in here. Because credit's pretty huge. When you have good credit, you're going to get lower interest on a car. So like I would buy a $5,000 or $6,000 car, and then I'd end up having to do repairs all the time. Repairs or a breakdown, I'd have to call off work. So it's best, and I was working 40 minutes away. So it's best just to have good credit. And if you can, save up a good amount of money to lower your car payment, and then it'll be the same concept when you go for a house someday. So personal advice, start working on your credit young and be smart with those credit cards. I would buy maybe, that's a slippery slope type of question there. He's asking if college is worth it. It can be. We need doctors and lawyers and advanced professions. But then you see, so if I knew what I knew now, the last factory that I worked at 6 years, so as an example, says I want to go in LEO, but my state requires a degree. What's LEO? And then once I know what LEO, I could respond better. I'll share a quick example though. So a girl I'd been talking to about 7 or 8 years ago, she was a teacher at the local, law enforcement. Yeah, or military. That gets risky if we end up going to war. Military would be great. Hand to hand, you'll be skilled through life. People really won't mess with you. And they're kind of a shoo-in for government jobs, law enforcement, prison. That's something to think about too. Military, police, and it looks great. like I noticed too, even if you're in a factory and you have a military experience, they choose them. They take care of the veterans in this country. But college, for that too, I mean, if that's what you're interested in, that's just be careful and stay safe out there, man. We're in a pretty rough world. But back to the college real quick. So, example, if you're thinking, depends on why you want to do it. You want to do it for money, comfort in life when you're older, or you want to do it because it's something you're passionate about. So if it's something you're passionate about, just go ahead and chase it. I'll sum it up real quick with that. But if it's more the money side of it, example, a woman I was talking to about 7 or 8 years ago, she was a teacher at the local high school, city school. We have quite a few in this area, but so she was a teacher, and she had a bachelor's, master's. She had like 3 different degrees. She was like a specialist teacher, so she got paid more. Well, I took a job. I actually was trying to get to Honda, but they offered me another immediate opening at a local factory. Well, not so local. It was 40 minutes away, but so they made plastic bottles for Procter and Gamble. And I went in as a temp even. I didn't even get hired straight in. Temp brought me in at $16 an hour. It was double time on Sundays, so that's $32 an hour. But I had volunteered a couple days of overtime. Well, I got my first check, and that temp paid me every week. And I got my first check, and I think I made like $800 or $900, and I was happy about it. She asked me if I got my first check or something. I was like, yeah, it was better than I thought. I made $800, and instantly she couldn't even hide it. She said, that's ridiculous. And I was kind of like, well, what do you mean? And she said, I've got a bachelor's, a master's, and whatever else she had. I think 2 bachelors. And she said, you're making more money than me, and I'm $50,000 in debt. And she was pissed off. So, that is something to think about with the field. I see on Ohio Means Jobs hiring for state troopers and stuff like jailers or sheriffs, and it's usually low to mid 20s an hour. I don't know how they are with overtime. It's stuff to think about long term. If you have kids and a wife you want to provide, like Titus said earlier, men's the providers. Stuff's so expensive nowadays. I don't want to discourage anybody from something that they're interested in, but when you widen the scope of life and pathways, it's something to think about. College is pretty expensive, man. Like for me, I see the difference with the engineers and stuff. I know they make really good money. A lot of those engineers are going to make 40 to 50 an hour. I actually have an interview, maintenance, Friday for 38 an hour. So but yeah, I'll work on that Teletubby stuff for you. Feel free to subscribe and keep me in line. I'll take the insults because that's fuel. I'll keep that in mind when I'm running my laps tomorrow afternoon when I wake up. Teletubby. I'm not that type that I've got pretty thick skin. So how'd you feel about my response, man? What do you think about college? I don't know what they're teaching you guys, younger age. I know when I was young, it was a hard push to get in college, get your college loans. I went to college for a little over a year. I went for human services, and I think it does look good on resume. So when I apply for these jobs and they see college, even though I didn't get my degree, Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. For me, it was tough, man, because I was working full time, and my dad had bought a farm and had horses at that time. He was trying to put up fencing and build the stalls, and I was trying to help him. And my mom had died a year before that, so that was actually why I got into college. I wanted to go for. Yeah, the AI. That's a AI's crazy how it's just taken over. I know when I was in college, they had a way of um, checking on your essays if you was stealing it from somewhere. Yeah, that's probably a good point, though. You don't really think about that. People cheating their way through there and getting degrees, and then they get thrown right into these fields. And like 10 years ago, they could kind of check this, but now the AI is so out of control. You would think that these colleges are preparing for that type of stuff. I appreciate you guys hanging out in here. I really do wish you the best, Malik, especially law enforcement. We need that. Crazy world. Got to keep people in line. I remember when I was sitting in prison seeing some of those officers like, man, they're just sitting there hanging out in here and they're getting paid 20 something an hour. Just to be sitting around hanging out and walking around counting people every 3 or 4 hours. There is some rough prisons. Some of them have gotten killed, some of them have gotten hurt. It's sad when you see a state trooper or sheriff or somebody got killed just trying to pull somebody over. I'll never forget, there's one video on YouTube, an old ex-military guy, cop went to pull him over, and he starts dancing around in the middle of the road saying, here I am, here I am. And the guy's telling him whatever, stop or put your hands up. And the guy's dancing out in the middle of the road. He was a veteran, ex-military, the guy out in the road dancing. And he went to go get back in his truck, and the guy's telling him to stop, stop. And the guy got in there and got a rifle. And they went at it right there out on some country road. And it's hard to watch. You hear the guy crying out, no, 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 and then you think he says die motherfucker or something like that, and takes him out at that point. So, and I'm pretty sure that was real. I looked up the guy's name, and it was also, you've seen it? Yeah, it's a hard watch, man, but it's good to know. That guy probably had a wife and kids and stuff, and pretty sad scene. Every once in a while I'll watch it just to go back and feel for them. It reminds me to have respect for law enforcement, but yeah, that's a good idea. It's good for them to know, because just the way he was crying out in the end, and saw the glass break as he shot the bullets, and then I looked it up just to, AI, it's crazy like it is, but I looked up the articles on that guy and said he got life or death penalty or something. So yeah, be careful, man. If you go that route, there's a lot of evilness in the world. But there's Bible verses on that actually about blessed are the peacemakers. So you're doing the Lord's work when you just, as anything, evil finds a way to sneak its ugly face back in. That's why some of them end up corrupt and all that. So just hopefully you stay on the good side of it all. I saw a video a couple weeks ago. A cop, guy had his cell phone going, got pulled over. You see the cop throw a bag of dope in the back seat, and he was like, I saw what you just did. And he's like, what? He's like, I didn't do nothing. He's like, I got you on video, man. And you could see the cop clearly throwing a bag of dope in the back seat. So, pretty crazy that stupid stuff goes on out there. You guys need subscribers? You guys have your own channel? Or you just kind of scrolling around, happen to find me? Probably get off here soon. I don't know where you guys are from. It's 3:30 in the morning where I am. Yeah, so when it comes to Bible verses, I'm horrible. I kind of remember them, but I can't recite them word for word. And I definitely can't just refer back to. All right, Malik, man. Good night. Hey, thanks for stopping in, man. It's good talking to you. Good luck with school. Stay focused, brother. So there's the Bible verse about the end times and what the world will be like, and describing how people will be lovers of flesh and disobedient to parents and selfish. A whole list of different stuff. And actually, I think it's the one picture that's on my phone for some reason. It threw it up last night. Uh-oh, I hit the wrong button. Oh, shit. This one? Yeah, that one. So, I don't know why this is the only picture it allows me to put up behind me. I don't know why it's still keeping I guess it's trying to put me in there like it's a green screen. Yeah, so that right there, it's the only picture it lets me do that with on here. Yeah, AI is taking over pretty. I remember a year or two ago, I'd think it was Joe Rogan or Morgan Freeman or these different people doing these videos. And it was all AI. Wish there was some AI to help me drop this weight pretty quick without putting in all the work. And there is, I guess. You could use an app and filter it and deceive people. I'm gonna go grab me a water. I'm kind of thirsty. I've been on here, looks like women coffee. What? I'm not sure what that means, man. Women coffee? I can get back on the topic of women. I could go on about them for a lifetime. But I'm gonna go grab some water. I don't know if you bailed out on me, but yeah, good with all that. Filters and I don't know. They've got their terms. I don't use any of that crap. It'd be nice if this. So when I'm on my laptop, I was so this is my third day live streaming, and I'm on my cell phone this time. The laptop lets me add pictures and stuff. I don't. Other than what I just did with that Bible verse, I can't really do that. But I could show some pictures when I'm in better shape. It's weights. I think they call it an endomorph when you just pack on weight so quick. I'd fall under the endomorph out of the three. Yeah. So what's your experience with the women, if you don't mind sharing? I know it seems like we're on a similar page and vibe when it comes to our experiences. I would guess that you're a little bit older. I'm 44. So that youngin' that was just in here, hopefully he took heed to some of that and coached him up a little bit, because people didn't teach me that type of stuff. I had to learn the hard way. If anything, I was getting bad advice. Oh man, you're pretty wise for being 22. You're definitely head of the game with what you just described. 22 is pretty young, man. Yeah, there's always people in life that's pretty blessed at a young age. It's like my dad's described some people he's known over the years, they're just really good with money. He's like he said, it's like somebody just waved a magic wand over them and they're just extremely good with money. And it seems like you're pretty knowledgeable about female nature at a young age. So I got out of prison at 29. And even then I was writing a girl that was in prison. I ended up, she got a new roommate, some lesbian, that fell through the cracks. And that, anyway, I started seeing a girl from work, and I had to learn the hard way. I took a beating. I'm glad you know the term gaslight and you're seeing it, man. It sucks. As you can tell, you just kind of got me going there, because you're right. You're seeing it young. Yeah, you're right. It is. Always the victim. They'll play the victim, they'll rage or cry or do whatever they got to do, and it's just snake. And what sucks is when you're wise to it. They like easy prey, easy targets. So I would guess that you probably did pretty good in school. And if you didn't, you probably could have. You're probably good, a little bit higher IQ at figuring things out. So, and same with me. When you're quick to figure out their strategies and their games, they don't like it. And I'm telling you now, it doesn't get any easier as you get older. So my experience, any good ones, you kind of want to seek them out young and pray that God gifts you one, possibly, because when you hit them 30s and 40s, all the good ones are gone. They've got kids. They got with a good man that went to college, and he actually had good values. And so say 3 to 5% are actually that virtuous woman. They got snatched up in their 20s. Most of them is family oriented and actually want that in life. So as you get in the 30s and 40s, unless you have one that like had a husband that tragically died or had cancer, there's not many out there, and they're single for a reason, and they're going to do exactly what you said. They're going to play the victim, gaslight you, make you think you're crazy, tell you you're crazy, act like you've got an attitude when it's them. That's projection. They project their own. their own hate and lack of love on you when it's really them. I'm glad you know this stuff at a young age. I would say, yeah. Personally, this is like in a quick answer. So that's tough because women are hypergamous. If you don't know about hypergamy, look up hypergamous. So it would be described like hypergamy is always watching. They're always watching you. They're trying to gauge you. That's just female nature and breeding instincts, like just like any animal kingdom, looking for the alpha male. They want to seek out the most alpha option they can find. And with social media, it's freaking horrible because it's all a mirage most times. They're seeing this guy and he's appealing through the way he does his Facebook page, or he's got 100 women liking on him, so they look at it like social proof, sexual market value. They look at somebody like him like he's got higher value, and then once they're with them for... I'm reading your message. So my last one said it wasn't, and then I'm insecure. No, that's that gaslighting crap, man. No, you were smart and you were aware that's what was going on. And you were too pure for her and her promiscuous ways. It sucks, man. And I'm glad we're sharing this conversation because it's not just us, it's a lot of men go through it. Adam and Eve, the serpent, man. So, just easily deceived, always looking for that better option, that bang for their buck. Yeah, they shouldn't. Now I'm telling you right now, Annie, especially if they're gaslighting and all that crap, how would she have felt if she knew you was flirting around? How did you describe that? You said, is it cheating for your woman to go seeking attention from other men? Hey, Black Halo. I'm reading your message. Let me respond to Titus, and I'll give you the best response I can on that, Black Halo. Or BL Fork. It looks like Black Halo. I tried to use it for somebody might have your name. Good to see you in here. So back to Titus. Is it cheating for women to go seeking attention from other men? Most times they're going to do it, man. That's just name of the game. Black Halo. Okay, gotcha. Feel free to subscribe, guys, if you find value with our conversations here, because I'm new. This is like my third day on here, so cheating for your woman to go seeking attention. Like, how would she feel if she knew you was doing that? You already know the answer to that. She'd be jealous. She'd never let you live it down. It'd be 3 years from now, and she'd still be bringing up the time you looked for attention from another woman, and they've sharp memories, so she would remember, and it'd always be held as ammo and fuel, turn it back around on you and throw it in your face. So yeah, that's definitely no healthy relationship. You know, should be the man. She should be helping build you up and be a team. You know, become as one, as the Bible would describe a healthy relationship, especially when love's involved. And we're in a bad day and age where it's frowned upon to get married. They want single people and reduce the population, I'm thinking, is part of the agenda, somewhat. But so Black Halo says, hey, so I'm kind of confused with my religion with everything happening right now. Different people made me question my existence. Is there any way I can feel closer to God? Um, Kind of a similar question I've heard people ask over the years, and I've heard multiple people say it. It's kind of eerie that it's been the exact same question from multiple people. And it took me a long time, probably about the time I hit 40 and had my spiritual awakening through all these toxic relationships and God pulling me closer to Him. I'm 44 now. So, what I would share on that is multiple people I've heard them ask the same exact question. Why are we here? Why are we even here? Why has God got us here? What are we doing here? They might not even believe in God or mention God. They just want to know, why are we here? And 100%, I'd say the answer to that is to learn how to love, learn how to put God first, learn how to serve God, learn how to serve others, and love. Love God, love your enemy, love yourself, love your neighbor. It's out there. We're in a pretty cold world. So there's a Bible verse. It says Satan, the God of this world, has blinded the minds of the unbelievers. So if you go into Bible principles, they're saying that, Lucifer, Satan, cast out like a lightning bolt down here. And he's the God of this world. So that's why you see such sinful nature everywhere you go. Relationships. What sells in the music? What sells in the movie industry? It's all sinful. War against the flesh. Spiritual warfare is what we're in. And battle of good and evil. Hopefully that somewhat helps. I could think a little more deep into it. Do you have a response to what I said? I would add, if you're still here, after my mom died, so my grandma died, and then a couple years later, I'd say, well, maybe a few years later, my mom died. I was at work that night. That was unexpected. Got the call she died. And before that, that was a rude awakening, low blow for me. I was probably 33 at the time. She was 55. Drinking and pills did her in. So that hurt quite a bit. And then, so before then, I always just had kind of my own little fantasy world. Well, if I'm good, I'll see them in heaven. I'll see them again. But they were still around at that point when I thought like that. And then best friend died when we were 20. That was hard, but nothing like losing my mom. So when I lost her, I really started to question everything. Like, what if I was wrong? What if this is a bunch of BS about the Bible? I was questioning everything at that point. Like, what if I never see her again? Like, I should have did stuff so different. Like, I always had this fantasy world that when people die, we'll see them again. Well, for one, even now, I don't think if we see them again, it's going to be that form. I mean, you think about it. If you're a 60 or 70-year-old man, do you want to be that form? Picture people in this world. Like my dad, for example, he's 70. Like, to him, that's the dad I loved at 70. Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Feel free to stop in anytime. We can have a chat about that type of stuff. So like my dad being 70, like I hate watching him get older and seeing the age spots and seeing him not get around like he used to. But, in his mind, he wants to be young again, free spirit. And so when we die and move on, I don't think they're going to be in that humanly form that we know them as now. But back to the story about my mom. That was pretty tough, losing my mom in my 30s. I still see people, I'm 44. I see them, people my age, but their grandparents are still around. They started having kids when they were young. And so I've lost all my grandparents. My mom's gone. So I was questioning everything pretty freaking hard. Thought I messed up in life. Like, I was just, what a piece of crap. And you may not like where I'm going with this. A lot of people don't. But I started seeing a lot of conspiracy stuff on like 9/11 and Sandy Hook and moon landing. And the more I looked into a lot of that stuff, the more I was questioning what type of government is here and who knows about these other countries. And then the flat earth stuff popped up. And so they make it out to be a big joke, but I don't think it's that much of a joke. And if you really thoroughly studied a lot of that stuff and being underneath the firmament like it says in the Bible, and you know that they've had military operations trying to fire up through that. Look up Operation Fishbowl. They've tried to fire through what they used to call the ozone layer in the Van Allen belt, and nothing's going out. It's all some form of radiation, they call it. And so Operation Fishbowl, the military was out by Hawaii, and they were trying to fire missiles up through the Van Allen belt. And yeah, so I'm glad you remember. Hey, Brian, good to see you. So they hit something up there with their missiles or whatever they were firing, and it knocked power out in Hawaii. That's all documented. If you look on Wikipedia, look up Operation Fishbowl and Starfish Prime. So at that point, I really got to questioning when I'm learning about the firmament mentioned that separates the waters from earth and the waters from heaven. And even when I was kind of in my 20s, I used to look up at the sky, just the prettiest blue. And I'm like, why is the sky blue? You know? And I had a friend tell me, well, I heard it's because the Earth's more water and it's a reflection. And that's an extremely deep topic, probably for another day. Join back in, we can talk about that flat earth stuff all you want. Operation. So, if you're still here, Black Halo, I really hope some of that helped, man. We could talk more at some point and I can share. How old are you, Black Halo, if you're still in here? Brian Leisure. I didn't even catch the last name. Brian Leisure knows about Operation Fishbowl. What the heck's Brian Leisure doing up at 4 a.m.? Oh. It's a pretty cool name you got there, Brian Leisure. Yeah, I see you landed in the right place. Yeah, I was doing a video, man. Third night live streaming. I got that 50 subscribers. Thanks for the help. So I was trying to document. I've gained quite a bit of weight the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 months since last winter. Yeah, thanks, man. It's been a good experience learning on here, practicing around. So I got on here to hit some sets earlier and talk to people about struggle, like we was messaging about the other day, struggle with weight gain and trying to lose weight. I was on here hitting a few sets and people got talking about some stuff. we got on the topic of women and narcissism, and no women chimed in. It'd be great to hear their response on some of that stuff. But yeah, all right, let's talk about CERN. You going to bed soon? Yeah, CERN's interesting. Same with that Mandela effect. I don't know if they go hand in hand, and what CERN's up to. It's all right. That's about how long I'll hang out, and maybe not even that. I've been on here. My timer is at 2.5 hours, so it's been fun talking with people on here. Had a couple come in here. One told me I look like a Teletubby. So I told him, thanks for the motivation. I'll keep that in mind when I'm running my laps. Try to get rid of that Teletubby look. Yeah, then I turned around and did some sets on my pull-down bar back there, and they said they could see my butt crack. So, huh. Something weird about the sun, man. I was riding home from work one day, and I don't know what made me do it. It was kind of somewhat setting in the distance. It definitely hadn't set all the way, but it was starting to, it was kind of in the distance, and I just kind of looked at it, and I focused on it. And I know they say you're not supposed to directly look at the sun, but I did. And, like, I even kind of, like, focused. Like, you know what I mean? I'm focusing in. There was a point where I did focus, and it wasn't like, I didn't want to do it long, but when I did, it looked like a portal or something. It didn't look like some gases or explosions. So it looked like some freaking definitely energy or portal something, and it had like a ring around it. Like that ring would go like that, and then it would go like that, and like that, and then it would just definitely look like it had a ring around it. And I told a guy at work about it, and I thought that too. I was like, I wonder. There's a reason why they make sure they like program you not to look at it. But then, you know, you think about magnifying glass and how it'll fry an ant. So I was like, I don't know how your eye, however you want to say it, registers that beam of light coming in directly at it. So it did, when I thought about, you know, magnifying glass and lighting stuff on fire, I tried not to make a habit to look directly at it, but it wasn't what we've been taught. I didn't feel like. Oh, okay, well, good. And you're not blind, so I'll have to look at it again sometime. Have you seen what I was describing? Where it looked almost portal-like, like just energy source, like from something. I don't know, man. It's hard to describe unless you see it. Oh, I'm glad you dropped in here, man. Had a few people talking. They were younger, talking about college and some Bible stuff and women. What about that ring around it? The way it would kind of, it wasn't like it had any, it wasn't consistent. It just circle, 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 half circle, back and forth, circle, but definitely like a, now you're going to have me on a rabbit hole looking into this stuff. I never, like, I did it that day, and I told the guy at work, and he come into work a couple days later and said he did, and he said he saw exactly what I told him. He said he'd never looked directly at it before. And heck, he was late 20s. I didn't do it until I was about 40 then. Huh. For a few months? Huh. I'll have to take a closer look. Now you have me thinking. What about the moon? Is that only when it's kind of reaching the full moon phase, or? I like the moon. I'm always checking out the moon. I always see it in the daytime. Like, there you are. Yeah. Sounds good. Huh. See, that's weird. Makes me wonder now about a lot of things. Because I know they was doing the chemtrails pretty heavy there for a while. I've got pictures where they lit that freaking sky up look like a football field, marked up so heavily. So I didn't know what they were up to with all that. And they always seem to be following the sun, trying to block it out. And I remember there was articles that Mexico's made them stop doing that. Huh. What in the heck? This is all pretty interesting, man. Thanks for sharing that. That's something I'd like to look into. Spent a couple weeks looking at this Charlie Kirk stuff, man. I'm like, I'm losing so much time. If I would hit a stopwatch every time I'm looking at Charlie Kirk stuff, I mean, just a lot of life getting extracted by Charlie Kirk stuff. Why? Why do you think they block it? A lot of people I've ever talked to about it, they don't even know what's going on. I'll ask them or I'll mention chemtrails and they'll look at me like I'm freaking crazy. Huh. I would just stay away from that weight gainer. I'd stay away from any weight gain, period. Because I feel like I feel like there's like a type of threshold. And once you cross that threshold, you start getting visceral fats in around your organs. And then it makes it extremely hard to lose it. So as long as I would view it as you're healthy, man, and your body's doing what it needs to do. It's digesting properly and stuff like that. Because once you get that weight gain and you go over that threshold, you're going to see the other end of the spectrum where your body's just freaking not knowing what to do with stuff and storing it as fat. Yeah, I never could come up with a good theory on what that chemtrail stuff was all about. I mean, you heard a lot. If you looked into it, you heard it helped. You heard it helped with, I think, the 5G or the cell phone. It was putting aluminum in it or something. It was helping signals, stuff like that. Other people said they were trying to block out the sky so other countries couldn't look at us on our satellites, spy on us. Heard stuff like that. Heard they were trying to block the sun and radiation. And then other people said they were trying to make us sick, blocking out the vitamin D. What in the heck is that? I don't know that word or the other one. Kind of ascension, I know that, but huh. Boy, you're loading me up with stuff to be looking up now. Did you work last night? Did you have another late night last night? Yeah, it's pretty wild. Hey, Titus, glad to see you're still in here. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It isn't, it's like some people say, it's just one big stage. Um, Definitely not what I thought it was. And Titus is young, Brian. He said he's early 20s, so he's pretty advanced for being that age. Um, I wish I had that kind of knowledge at early 20s. 2 a.m., another late night, huh? Yeah, that job, if I take it on Friday, that's going to be like I'll be working late too, like you, a lot of times probably. I'll send you a message on Messenger and give you the details. Yeah, hopefully they gave me and my two friends that they said they needed 5 of us, so that's why I said if you live closer, been nice to got you hooked up. 2 of my friends, I gave them their information. They have interviews too, so one of them said he wants the 43 an hour. He's not leaving, so I can't blame him. He's been that other company 20 years. Oh man, start threatening to quit. What's the worst going to happen? You find a better paying job anyway. Yep. How does he pay overtime? Is it time and a half there? Yeah, Titus, you're right. If you're still here about it being a crazy world, it's I don't know, man. It's like they say, living in the Matrix. I'd say I was stuck in that Matrix until I was like 40. I was super deceived. It's like I call it God giving me a spiritual awakening and enlightenment. And they say we're living in the age of enlightenment, so um, yeah, it'd be nice if they tip more. Well, they do a lot of times, get something for 16, 17 bucks, give you 20 until you keep the change. I feel like that's probably what goes on a lot in the drive-thru. No, I saw they had I haven't smoked in uh, 15 years. I mean, I picked it back up, but even when I picked it back up, I haven't smoked in 7 or 8 years. Uh, and I saw a pack of something the other day. It was $8 or $9 a pack. I think it was Newport. That's pretty cool. That's cool. People's got a good heart like that and generous. I'm pretty surprised to see you drop in like this. How'd you find me? Dad said he checked me out too the other day. He must have saw me advertised on YouTube or something. Yeah, you better not mess up that 8 cents there, boy. I'll be waiting on you after work. They don't get that 8 cents. Yeah, I listened to that song you sent me the other night, and I think it was getting late that night. Forget what the heck his name was, but I did check that out that you told me to check out. Can't believe it's already 4 o'clock. Titus, you still hanging in there? I'll probably wind down here soon. I know Brian said he's about to call it a night too. They kind of discouraged me from the workout, man. The one guy said he could see my butt crack when I was doing my Pulldowns on that bar up there. Yeah, I'll probably wrap it up here soon. Thanks for hanging out as long as you did, Titus. It's been good talking to you, man. Keep that good head on your shoulders. Now, being young like you, I would maybe you've already seen it, but maybe YouTube Mike Tyson. He's giving one of those UFC fighters some advice. He said, you're getting all this fame and winning, and he said, you know what that means, right? And he said, what's that? And he said, it means you're favored by God. Tyson, pretty beastly himself. And he said, he told him you're favored by God. And he said, there's a bad side to that too. When you're favored by God, you're favored by the devil. So just beware. Sometimes you a lot more spiritually aware, you take on more attacks in life than the average naive person that doesn't know any better. Hopefully that female advice, we can talk about that female stuff anytime you want too, because sounds like you've gotten quite a bit of experience. Yeah, it's 4 a.m. for me. What time is it where you're at, Titus? Oh, okay. You must be out. We out clear out west. Oh, Romania. Oh, man. So that's a good, man. That's just a good example on female nature. You're describing exactly, we're describing it to a T with each other, and you're in Romania. I'm in the United States. And yeah, you're right, Brian. Brian Leisure says, sometimes being spiritually aware, the more attacked we are or tried to deceive us. Yeah, it's a battle, fight for your soul, basically. And, these people that's embracing sin, they're no threat. So he's like, I'll let them have their thing. If anything, I think Brad Pitt said it in a movie. Devil takes care of his own. I think he said that in the movie Fury. Devil takes care of his own, and he will. So they don't see it. They're living. I view it serving Satan or daddy, and a lot of people call it living in the Matrix. Either way, however you describe it, that's what's going on. So what's up with you, Titus, over in Romania? How you like that country? You in school or are you just working? Brian Leisure. When are you going to get that DJ channel going, man? I was impressed by that music you shared. Yeah. Especially if it was anything like this couple that you sent me the link to. Especially the longer ones that you can put on loop. Work out to and stuff. Heck, see, I could play that kind of stuff on here. And when I work out and advertise you, they wouldn't copyright me for something like that. It's freaking exercise bench. Getting a bit hard on the butt. Yeah, I'll show you what I was doing earlier. They gave me all kinds of crap about it. They said my said my butt crack was hanging out. Yeah, I got up on here. Can't hardly stand up now. I've been sitting so long. Yeah, I was working out, hitting the sets. Turned back around and I saw two of them telling me they could see my butt crack. One of them said if I don't like females that he was interested, and I told him thanks for being my first troll. Brian Leisure says, I remember my dad had insomnia. I maybe got that from him. Possibly. I actually talked to I don't know what you would call her. I've talked to her on Facebook some. Anyway, long story short there, she said she's always been a night owl, and I said I was too, and she said she kind of suspected maybe that's something that comes from like early development in the womb, even like maybe you had a mom or somebody that stayed up late, and even at a young age, even before you were born, you were circadian rhythm was getting set to those hours. Because I've always been like that. I'd work day shift, but I freaking hated it. I remember getting in middle school and high school, and I couldn't stand getting up early. I did it, but man, I'd get up very last minute. I'd wet my hair and run out the door. Get cleaned up the night before so I didn't have to when I woke up. All right, man. Yeah, I'm going to get off here too. So have a good night, Brian. Thanks for stopping in. It's been yep, it's been fun chatting with you in here. I'll probably do some different styles. I was just practicing around. Heck, I was upstairs earlier sanding joint compound and nobody really watched or they didn't even comment. I was doing that for an hour and a half. I didn't see a single comment. So it's good practice. People like to just talk and yeah, well, I can't be on here this late tomorrow. I have that interview on Friday, so we'll see. I'm sure over the weekend I'll be back on here. You got work all weekend? All right, man. Well, if you staying up late feeling froggy, I'll probably be on here those nights, just hanging out. Try to come up with something more exciting to do for these videos. It's nice just to talk to people too, like these younger guys sharing knowledge, and Titus seemed to know quite a bit for being his age with stuff we were talking about. But yeah, man, have a good night, Brian. I'm going to get off here too. It's almost 4:30, so if you're in here, Titus, I'm heading out, brother. Yep, God bless you as well, bro. I think this is a good spot to go ahead and cut it off. So anybody else, God bless them too, and have a good day, night, wherever you're at. Titus, I know you said Romania 11, so enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and get on off here.